A bad guy who killed several people at a church in Texas was stopped by a good guy with an AR-15. A lot more people are rethinking that it might be a good idea to maybe keep a rifle in their vehicle. But according to my research, one of the top ways that criminals arm themselves is by stealing firearms from vehicles. So anytime you're going to leave any kind of firearm in a vehicle, you need to make sure it is secured. In fact, I have a story I'm going to tell you in this video about when that didn't happen, that went horribly wrong. And we're going to talk about a great product from the folks at Lockdown that allows you to safely secure and render an AR-15 inoperable. So you can have it for emergencies, but nobody can steal it. So that's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me. So, as I try to start most firearms videos, let me just say right up front, I am not an expert of any kind, shape, or form about any kind of use of the firearm. I'm just a guy that has always liked shooting and like guns, and you know, I've spent a lot of time over the years studying and reading and trying to learn what I can. And I've had a little bit of training. I'm again by no means an expert. But last year I attended the fighting pistol class at Tactical Response up in Camden, Tennessee with James Yeager. And after the class I was talking to one of his instructors about the benefits, or at least the tactical benefits maybe of carrying more than a pistol with you, maybe keeping like an AR-15 or some kind of rifle in your truck just in case things really went bad. And at the time I thought, you know, maybe that's a little overkill. Well, then fast forward a couple of months, there was a big mass shooting in Texas, and as it turns out, the mass shooter was stopped from killing more people potentially by a guy who grabbed his AR-15 and went and engaged him. And he had to get it out of his house and run over there. You've probably seen the story on the news, but I'm thinking, well, maybe if somebody had had a rifle, they might have been able to stop the guy sooner. We'll never know that, but it got me to thinking about the pros and cons of maybe carrying like an AR-15 and keeping it in the vehicle. And I got to say, the number one thing that concerns me about that, honestly, is getting it stolen. And in just a minute, I'll tell you a story about why that is such a concern, because I happen to know somebody who had a gun stolen and it was used. Well, anyway, it's a pretty bad deal. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So anyway, the folks at Lockdown, who are a division of Smith & Wesson, were kind enough to send me one of their AR-15 Magwell locks to show it to you and to check it out. And I got to say, I really like this thing. I mean, I think it solves the major concern that I have, being able to carry a rifle, in this case an AR-15, in the vehicle without worrying about it being stolen or being used by the wrong people, or even being dangerous. What this does, it renders this rifle completely inoperable and allows you to secure it to pretty much a lot of stuff. I mean, I guess you could secure it to a phone pole if you wanted to. The cable's long enough. So without me doing a lot of rambling, let me take you down to the old stump top and show you how this thing works. And then I'll tell you a story of, actually it's a relative of mine who failed to secure a firearm in a vehicle, and it had pretty drastic consequences. So let's get down to the old stump top and we'll do that. Okay, so I've got it in my lap here. I'm going to try to show you how this thing works. First of all, as you'll notice, it features a two parts. It's got the Magwell lock. Then it has a cable here. It's got a kind of a locking pin on it with a cable with a loop. And basically the way you work this is, if you want to secure this to a vehicle, you just run the cable around a post or whatever and run this through the loop. So basically you've created like a little noose here that's going to be around your seat post or whatever. Then you notice the key has 3 positions here, if you can see that right there. And the first position is everything is unlocked. And then if you turn it to go to the middle position, which is clockwise 90 degrees, then you see that the cable is locked, but the springs up here that secure this thing in the chamber are not locked. So what I do is I go ahead and secure this loop to wherever I want it in my vehicle, and go ahead and put the pin in and lock it at the halfway position. So that means this is done. This part's finished. Then what you're going to want to do is go ahead and lock your chamber open. Lock your bolt back with the bolt lock right here. Close your charging handle, which leaves the chamber completely open. Going to take the, let's see, it's going to go this way. Take the Magwell adapter and push it all the way up in, and you can see that it goes up into the chamber right here. So that prevents anything from being able to be chambered whatsoever. And then just turn it another 90 degrees clockwise, and you're all locked up. So you're not only is your rifle inoperable, but it's also secured to the cable, and the cable can be secured at the other end or wherever. Now, personally, I'm not going to go ahead and you can go ahead and close the bolt on it if you want to. I'm not going to do that because it just makes it harder to get this out. You got the pressure of the bolt on it. I just leave it back with a bolt locked open, so if I need it, I can turn it 90 degrees, pull it out, put a mag in, close the bolt chamber around, and I'm ready to go. Hopefully that never happens. I think it's a great way to secure an AR-15 in a vehicle or anywhere else you need to secure it and render it inoperable. But I also, you know, maybe sometimes you might not want to carry an AR-15, or maybe you just carry a pistol with you, and there's places where, like a post office, or for whatever reason, that you just can't carry inside. You can certainly put a box in, a little locking vault box, which I think is a great idea. I've got them in a couple of my vehicles. And we're going to look at that in a different video. But what I kind of think is cool about this is, at least even using this, you could take, say, this regular Glock 19, drop the mag, you could open it up. You can run it completely through the chamber like so, down through there. Okay, so now you're there, and around your post. So you're basically the arms of post. So this is all post chained together. Then you pop it in here like so, lock that like so, and basically this is like a bike lock, so to speak, and you got everything chained up there and nobody can steal it. Certainly not quite as efficient or as you know, handy as a vault, but it's also can be transferred to a rental vehicle or whatever, which I think just adds a level of versatility. Not only gives you the ability to lock up an AR-15, but pretty much any firearm to any vehicle that you might happen to be in, whether it's a borrowed vehicle or rented vehicle or whatever, or anywhere else you might need to lock it, which I think is really important. And I promise you I'll tell you a story. So real quick, the reason I think it's so important is one of my relatives, I'm not going to name him because I don't want him to be embarrassed, but he actually was working with law enforcement in some kind of capacity. And he left his pistol in his truck in a covered, supposedly secure parking area with video camera surveillance. Went into the office where he was at, came back out. Somebody had broken into his vehicle, stolen his pistol. They had the guy on video camera, but all they could see was a dude wearing a hoodie. Long story short, within 48 hours, that gun was used in a murder. They caught the guy, they got the gun, they told my relative, you're never getting the gun back. I mean, it's evidence in a murder case, that's gone. So not only did he lose his pistol, but because it wasn't properly secured, somebody else lost their life. Now, they might have lost it anyway, you know, the guy might have got a gun somewhere else. But bottom line, I've talked to so many people that are in a position to know that one of the top ways that criminals get their firearms is by breaking in vehicles. My vehicle was actually broken into last year. They stole a pack with a bunch of hunting stuff in it, but they didn't steal my pistol because it's on my side. But the policeman that came out told me they had several vehicles broken into that day and several guns stolen. So just, man, I'm telling you, if you're going to leave any kind of a firearm in a vehicle for any reason, make sure it is secured. It's just real important. Not only do you not want to lose your possessions, but you also don't want to contribute to somebody else losing their life or somebody else having a bad guy having a gun. They don't need our help, I promise you. So that's the moral of the story here. And I'm sorry, I almost forgot to tell you that story. But once again, that's the Lockdown AR-15 Magwell Lock. I think it's a really cool deal, and I think it really works. And it's about 25 bucks on Amazon, so it's not that expensive. It's definitely a worthwhile investment to protect not only your firearms, but also maybe to keep guns out of a criminal's hands. So I hope this has been helpful. Once again, thanks to the folks at Lockdown for sending me this so I can show it to you. As always, thank you for watching Survival on Purpose. I put out a brand new video every Friday and Saturday, and very often random videos throughout the week. You can check out a new one by clicking right over here. If you're not subscribed, please click down in the corner and click that little subscribe button. And when you do, there's a little bell that says be notified. Go ahead and click that, and you can be notified whenever I put out a new video. So I really appreciate your support. Once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.